Hello, everyone. My name is Craig Adler. I am a retired certified financial planner. I'm also sometimes known as the Angry Financial Planner. I am angry because we have made personal finance far too complicated. I have created this channel to address that concern. Today, what I want to discuss with you is which website do I feel is best for researching mutual funds? Is it Vanguard? Is it Fidelity? Or is it Schwab? Let's go ahead and start by looking at the Vanguard site. When I begin researching mutual funds, there is certain information I always want to have at my fingertips. I want to know the asset class of the fund. I want to know the expense ratio. I want to quickly be able to see performance data, and I really enjoy being able to see the yield of that fund itself. I want to know how much income I could expect from that fund on an annual basis. When Vanguard's website loads, it preloads all their mutual funds and all that critical information that I need. I find Vanguard's website incredibly easy to use and very intuitive. The second fund company I want to look at is Fidelity. Getting to the Fidelity Fund Evaluator is a little bit more difficult. When I come to their homepage, at the bottom of the page, I have to select Research Funds. After selecting Research Funds, at the bottom of the second page is the link to the Fund Evaluator. When that tool loads, it's entirely blank. There's absolutely nothing there for me to look at. What I can do, though, is I can select Fidelity funds and then display all funds. And after going through those steps, I now have most of the information that I need. I have the asset class. I have the historic performance data. I have the expense ratio. I do not have income information, but notice on the Fidelity site, there is a tab for income characteristics. When I go there, I will see the yield on all of their bond funds, but unfortunately, Fidelity only displays the yield on a few of their stock or equity funds. What they show instead is the last distribution. The last distribution is not incredibly helpful, and here's the reason why. I have absolutely no idea how much that fund cost, so I don't know how much I'm paying for that distribution. I also have absolutely no idea how stable and consistent is that distribution in terms of being paid. The only way I can have that information is with the yield, and unfortunately, Fidelity does not provide that information on their website from this tool. Next, what I'd like to do is look at the Schwab site. Schwab is a little bit more difficult and challenging. First of all, to use what they call their Fund Finder tool, I have to be logged in. What that means is if you don't have a Schwab tool, you can't even use the account. After logging in, I get some of the critical information. I get the performance data and I get the expense ratio, but notice I don't get the asset class. Instead, for product type, it shows me mutual fund. This is not overly beneficial. I know I'm looking at a mutual fund evaluator. What else should I be looking at? That just doesn't make a lot of logical sense, at least not to me. I really like to have the yield data. The reason I like to have yield data is for a retiree, you want to have a general idea of how much income your investments are providing. You can only get that when you know the yield of the fund. The yield of the fund is also a tool that investors can use to help determine do stocks and do bonds represent a good value or a bad one. How to do that is slightly beyond the scope of today's video, but knowing the yield is critical to answering those types of questions. For that reason, I am now prepared to answer the question, do I prefer Vanguard, Fidelity, or Schwab for researching mutual funds? I personally prefer Vanguard. I prefer Vanguard because the information preloads and it gives me the yield data on all their funds except for international funds. My second choice would be Fidelity. I like the Fidelity tool. I wish it provided that yield information. That's really the only difference between the Fidelity and the Vanguard tool itself. And actually, the Fidelity tool does give you some other information at my fingertips that is not available immediately from the Vanguard site. The Schwab site I have found most disappointing. I don't like having to log in, and I just don't like the idea that that yield information is not there and it is just more difficult to find and requires more additional steps. Once again, all three companies are outstanding world-class financial institutions. I would be very comfortable having my money at any of these three firms. I was just trying to evaluate which firm do I prefer for researching mutual funds. And for me, the answer to that question is Vanguard. In the comment section, let me know, did you find this video helpful, or do you have any questions that you would like me to answer? I will get back to those questions as quickly as I possibly can. I have created this channel to help everyone with their financial literacy, but I need your help as well. Please support the channel by subscribing. And remember, when it comes to our money, it is always better to be educated than angry.